Victor Rice, who returns after his loan spell, and Josko Gvardiol is in at left back. In midfield then, despite rumours of his potential exit, to Yanni Reinders is in midfield, and Mateo Kovacic and Phil Foden ahead of them. Another man who is rumoured to be out the exit door at the Etihad is Savinho, but he lines up as part of a front three with Antoine Semenyo and Omar Marmoush. Of course, many of Manchester City's World Cup stars, including Erling Haaland, not travelled to Asia for this tour. And well, I'm sure unless you've been living under a rock recently, you have heard the rumours surrounding the what seems almost imminent exit now of Rodri. A big blow that will be for City, but for now, that is their lineup to take on Atletico Madrid side, who line up as follows: Jan Oblak in goal, 16-year-old Jorge Dominguez lines up at right back, with Robin Lenormand partnering Danny Martinez at centre half. David Hanchko will push out to left back for this one. Koke, the captain, is on the right of a midfield four. That includes the Mexican international Obed Vargas and new signing Morten Hjulmand, the Dane, who is joined from Sporting Lisbon, with Rodrigo Mendoza on the left. Ademola Lookman then, he will partner Carlos Martin up front for this one for Diego Simeone's side, who, well, will be looking for a good response, having finished in 4th place, enough of course for a return to the Champions League, but a fairly distant 4th it was. Now we're going to look at the benches here for both of the sides, and well, some different squad numbers to what I have been listed here, so you'll I'm sure you'll excuse me as I try and figure out whenever the subs get made later on in this one as to who is who coming on here. So we are almost ready for kickoff here at the home of FC Seoul. Yeah, it's also known as the Sangam Stadium. The 2002 FIFA World Cup, it hosted South Korea's narrow semi-final defeat to Germany, a 1-0 defeat that day, as the co-hosts made a historic run to the semi-finals that has yet to be repeated. And well, I'd be surprised to see if it would ever be repeated, particularly after Korea's group stage exit at this summer's World Cup. But we are almost ready to go here, as Atletico Madrid in their traditional colours of red and white striped shirt, blue shorts and blue socks. Manchester City in a change strip today of all black shirt and socks, all black shirt and shorts with gold socks. And well, Atletico Madrid will have on the bench today their new signing from Paris Saint-Germain, who I'm sure will garner a lot of attention when he joins proceedings. Lee Kang-in, the Korean international, who joined from the back-to-back Champions League winners this summer, and we're being treated to a bit of a pre-match spectacle here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite sure who it is. He does have the look of perhaps a K-pop superstar, but I'll be honest with you, my knowledge on K-pop is fairly limited. But he is going to do a ceremonial kickoff here. Not a bad effort. He's launched that one from the halfway line into the penalty area on a bounce. Not bad at all. Certainly not in the correct footwear you would imagine for this. It's a slightly rainy evening in the Korean capital. Oh, now we're almost ready to get going here. As I mentioned, is Manchester City's last game of their 3-game Asian tour. In fact, just noticed there that he was in fact wearing a pair of boots. They looked a very sleek black pair of boots. So yeah, very stylish, very fashionable, very functional, I must say. So we are almost ready to get going here now in Seoul. And it will be Manchester City kicking off, playing left to right here. In their black shirts, black shorts with gold trim and gold socks. Atletico Madrid in their red and white shirts, blue shorts and blue socks. Our referee There's K-League referee Kim Jong-hyuk, and he will almost ready to go on his whistle here. Atletico Madrid with a very nice pattern on the back of their shirts, Korean script with Korean style numbers, very nice. But I'll be honest with you, a bit of a commentator's nightmare to try to to read the names and numbers in the back of the shirt. But we're underway here now as Gianluigi Donnarumma has the ball at his feet, all in green for Manchester City. He rolls it out to Vitor Reis. And now back with Ruben Diaz, the Manchester City captain, and he goes back to Gianluigi Donnarumma on the edge of his penalty area. And who is his arrival late last summer usurped James Trafford from the number 1 seat at Manchester City, and Trafford has now moved on to Leeds United. And there's an attempt at flick on from Savinho. It doesn't quite go to plan. That's a throw in to Atletico Madrid on the left hand side on halfway. And that's going to go back to Jan Oblak, all in yellow, the Slovenian goalkeeper for Atletico Madrid. Truly has been one of the best goalkeepers in the world, truthfully, over the past decade or so. Has often been linked with moves away from Atleti, but has stayed loyal to Diego Simeone. As I mentioned there, the young right back this evening is 16 years old, Jorge Dominguez for Atletico, playing one down the right hand side, but that's going to go out for a throw in, which will be taken here by Josko Vardiol, whose Croatian side were knocked out in the round of 32 stage at this summer's World Cup by Portugal. That one's flicked on. One for Reinders to chase. Oh, and that's a loose back pass. Reinders is in. Oblak makes a save, and it's scooped away inside the penalty area to Yanni Reinders, almost going around Jan Oblak. It was Danny Martinez there who just sold his goalkeeper short with a back pass, and Reinders almost rewarded for just keeping that run going. And it was a through ball play by Mateo Kovacic, and initially Martinez did really well just to get his body between Reinders and the ball, but didn't get anywhere near enough on the back pass. But Oblak came rushing out and just did enough to smother it, and Atletico were able to mop up in the 6-yard box. So now here is Hansko. It seems as though he will actually play in at centre half with Martinez at left back. It was initially given to me as the other way around. So there's one down the line now for Ademola Lookman to chase, but across comes Ruben Diaz to roll that one back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. And of course, notably not at the World Cup this summer after at least failure for a 3rd World Cup in a row, losing to Bosnia in the March playoffs on penalties. So he had another summer watching from home. Donnarumma, quite incredible really, given how early he came to prominence with AC Milan. As there's a robbery high up the pitch here, and that's going to be, well, I thought it was going to be given as a free kick, but Kim Jong-hyuk says no, but it's play on. Atletico have it anyway. Dominguez on the right hand side, in line with the edge 18-yard box. Now back into the centre circle here for Hansko. Hansko gets it again. As I mentioned, quite incredible really that Gianluigi Donnarumma, who came to prominence so young at AC Milan, then made his big move to PSG, and now at Manchester City. Speaking of Jan Oblak, similarly one of the best goalkeepers in the world for the past decade, as Kovacic just comes in and bumps Obed Vargas off that one, and away comes City down the right. Gianluigi Donnarumma has yet to play at a World Cup, but has also won a European Championship. Now great skill there down the right hand side come Manchester City there. Good challenge in the end from Hansko, pokes that one away from Savinho, and goes back to Matheus Nunes, the Portugal international. Joined from Wolves, came to Man City as largely as a midfielder, but is favoured as a right fullback by Pep Guardiola. Of course, no longer at the helm at the Etihad. It's going to be a very new feeling this season. Enzo Maresca, though he'll be used to the Manchester City dugout, was the assistant to Pep Guardiola before his move to Chelsea. Here's Semenyo now on the left, cuts one in right footed and headed away as Marmoush, I think, was going to try an overhead kick there, and then that's surely a push in the back from Semenyo. Indeed it is. And that's going to be a free kick to Atletico. As a foul there on Carlos Martin, who is dropping back to do some defensive duties. So we've played 5 minutes here now at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 0. I'm Mark Strange live for Flash Score official this afternoon. And we're really getting close to the beginning of a new season in the Premier League and La Liga. Man City, as I mentioned, they will face Arsenal in the Community Shield at Wembley next week as the league winners take on the FA Cup winners before they'll kick off their campaign on the 23rd of August at home to Bournemouth. Atletico Madrid, they get going on the 19th of August, a midweek kick-off for them. At home to Malaga, they'll face Marseille in a friendly next week before wraps up their pre-season preparations, as Dominguez does really well there to hold off Semenyo, the young fullback. And now it's back here with Robin Lenormand, who missed out on Spain's World Cup squad, to many people's views quite surprisingly so. The former Real Sociedad man, but not part of Luis de la Fuente's World Cup winning side. Here he is on the ball now though. Finds Hanchko. Overshoots that one a bit to Lenormand, but he keeps it in on the right. And Dominguez flicks that one out off of Antoine Semenyo for a throw-in. Semenyo, of course, will be coming out up against his former side, Bournemouth, when the season starts. He was an electric signing for Manchester City in January. Couldn't quite help them on to the title. Of course, that was Arsenal's glory this year, but did win an FA Cup. In Pep Guardiola's last campaign in charge, what an emotional farewell that was. A couple of other emotional farewells for City, of course, were long-serving players John Stones and Bernardo Silva, who've gone to Inter Milan and Real Madrid respectively. Now here come City on the attack with Reinders. Reinders going down the middle there, holds off the challenge. Reinders still going. Can he get a shot away? He can. It's blocked in the end though. Marmoush keeps it alive. Foden is blocked again. And away come out for a throw-in right to the feet of Diego Simeone on the right, midway inside the Atletico Madrid half. So yeah, we saw Tiani Reinders earlier, almost rewarded for keeping out Danny Martinez, and then he went in a jinking run there, and in the end the diving block was from Danny Martinez initially, and as Marmoush kept it alive to Phil Foden. Another block, but now here comes City again. It's in this time for Marmoush, and a good save by Oblak this time, and the offside flag was up late anyway. But Manchester City early on here getting plenty of openings in this Atletico defence, which well, as anyone who knows this Atletico team and who knows the way Diego Simeone likes to play, he'll not be happy with that. There's Lenormand, pings one out on the left hand side there, trying to find Mendoza, can't do so. And now Savinho tries to come away down the right as Martinez slips, but the ball just gets away from the Brazilian, linked heavily even really before the end of last season with a move away from the Etihad, particularly with Tottenham interested. We've seen the transfer splurgings in North London, keen to avoid another relegation battle and what would be a third season in a row finishing in 17th place. Really unthinkable for Tottenham, but they have certainly splashed the cash this summer. And Savinho was mentioned as one of their targets, but here's Reinders. He's been linked with a move to Nottingham Forest this week. Let's see if that one comes to fruition. He finds Savinho. Now back to Younes. Kovacic. Guardiola, who's moved out on the left hand side. Now Semenyo trying to take on Dominguez, who's done really well so far. Semenyo gets that one in, nodded away by Hanchko. Picked up again by Kovacic midway inside the Atletico Madrid half. Not really much action at the other end of the pitch so far for Atleti, as Savinho dances inside Martinez, and an easy one. He dribbled that one into the gloves of Oblak, and Semenyo throws his arms in the air. I think he was looking for that one. Martinez was just trying his best, like, not to foul Savinho there, but in the end the Brazilian couldn't get a strong enough shot away that would challenge Jan Oblak. And now here's Robin Lenormand for Atletico. He's seen plenty of the ball, but I'm sure he would rather have it further away from his goal. Hansko, left footer, spins out onto the right for Dominguez. He nods that one on. Mendoza's up there looking for it, but Kovacic gets to it first. Picked up again though by Lenormand. Now Koke down the middle looking for the run of Mendoza. And that one will be allowed to run out for a throw in the right hand side for Carlos Martin. He'll leave it for Jorge Dominguez to take here. 10 minutes gone at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. I'm Mark Strange live for Flash Score Official. Pre-season action here, goalless between Manchester City and Atletico Madrid, albeit Enzo Maresca's side have had a couple of good chances early in this one. That's out onto the right hand side. Now one for Mendoza to chase, but that one's going to beat him to the byline. And out for a goal kick to Manchester City. I nearly called them the hosts there. Their name does appear first on the scoreboard, but can't really call them the hosts. It's mentioned FC Seoul of the K-League, who call the Seoul World Cup Stadium home. In fact, that one's going to be a corner kick. It's actually been overturned, and so it's going to be a right foot right swing here from Koke for Atletico. In it comes. Good header away there at the near post by Vardiol. Right for a throw in on the right, midway inside the Atletico half, which Mendoza will take back to Martinez on halfway. Mendoza again. Down the right for Koke, stayed there. Plays one in the middle, over the top. It'll come for Martin on the left, but a good challenge by Savinho. But Martin's going to try and get back at him, and he does, but he fouls Savinho, so a free kick from a right back position here for Manchester City. First real opportunity there for Atletico, and a poor delivery from the corner from Koke. An easy clearance for City. Here's Kovacic. Reinders. He joined City from AC Milan last summer, but as I say already, linked with a move away. And that ball there from Kovacic is far too much on it for Savinho. So throw in to Atletico on the left. Hansko now on the edge of his own penalty area to Lenormand. Nice touch on there from Koke. Mendoza to Dominguez. Now Koke. Running ahead of him is Mendoza, but are well intercepted there by Reinders, who will just clip that one out onto the right hand side for Matheus Nunes to get on his bike here. Up over halfway goes Nunes, has Savinho ahead of him, uses him, just has to stutter step though there Savinho, so he's got Danny Martinez all over him now. Now Reinders goes back to Ruben Diaz. And here's Vitor Reis, the Brazilian centre half. Kovacic. Savinho on the right corner of the penalty area, faced up again by Martinez. He's got the better of him a couple of times. He goes to the byline. Martinez sticks with him. Savinho though pokes the pass back there to Nunes, and it comes to the back post, still bobbing around. Can anyone hit it? No, it's cleared away by Koke. Vitor Reis, who spent last season on a loan at one of the other City group clubs, Girona, as did Claudio Echeverri, who's on the bench today for City, as did Thomas Lemar on the bench for Atletico, but none of them could prevent the Catalans from being relegated to the second tier. Vitor Reis, only 20 years old, on the ball now, getting plenty of vital experience, joined from Palmeiras in 2025, January 25, but it really was his first full taste of European senior football. Played almost every game for Girona, but under Michel, who is was linked with a move to the Premier League, the Girona manager, but has recently taken over as Ajax manager. Now here's Hansko. At the Lenormand, midway inside his own half. A quarter of an hour played here in Seoul. Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 0. Dominguez. Mendoza over halfway. Spun out there from Koke on the left for Martinez, midway inside the City half. Danny Martinez still going, finds Lookman. Lookman, and a good challenge there from Reinders, and that will bring City away, although a poor pass from Savinho gives it straight back to Atletico, and a poor pass from Hanchko gives Manchester City a throw-in. So very much a pre-season play there from both sides. As Koke gives a wry smile. Diaz now to right. Back to Donnarumma. Diaz again, left corner of the penalty, right corner of the penalty, sorry. To Nunez, his countryman. Savinho, was he fouled there by Martinez? He was, right in front of Enzo Maresca, who claimed for that one. So a free kick will be to Manchester City, whose bench is brimming with young talent. And, as I mentioned, City will have more of their more experienced players back in the squad, many of which I imagine will be back for next week's Community Shield. Amongst the subs is Divin Mubama, who scored against the K-League All-Stars in midweek. Donnarumma finds Diaz. That's going to be a foul by Morten Hjulmand on Vitor Reis. And Hjulmand, Danish midfielder, who key man for Sporting, and is now joined here at Atletico, and good work there from Jorge Dominguez to slide that one away from Antoine Semenyo, but the offside flag is up against Semenyo regardless, so a free kick to Atletico, but Dominguez wasn't the note, and that was a really useful sliding challenge from him. In fact, I credit that to Jorge Dominguez. That's actually Carlos Martin who made the challenge, so apologies to him. I'll give the credit where credit's due. Now back at the feet of Oblak on his own penalty spot. Sends one forward right-footed, but picked off there by Reinders, midway inside the Atletico half. Finds Foden. Just like I mentioned, the Normand earlier, another man who, quite surprisingly, didn't play at this summer's World Cup, not picked by Thomas Tuchel. Here's Semenyo now on the left-hand side, faced up by Martin, goes past him. Semenyo to the byline here, clips it into the back post. Nobody in black there, but Danny Martinez has to nod that one behind for a Manchester City corner here on 18 minutes. Good work from Antoine Semenyo as he got to the byline. He clipped it back there, but nodded behind by Danny Martinez. Corner here on 18 minutes, the first of the game for Manchester City. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from the aforementioned Phil Foden. In it comes. All the way to the back post. Oh, it's nodded wide. It was Josko Gvardiol who went deep to the back post there with a diving header, but just bounced it wide. And that's close for Manchester City. That's a brilliant corner kick delivery from Phil Foden. And Gvardiol ghosted away from Martinez at the back post with plenty going on in front of Jan Oblak, and he kept that one on target. That was almost certainly the opener. A couple of City players, and you see the replay there, turning to Kim Jong-hyuk, appealing for a penalty, but nothing coming. And now Hjulmand has it for Atletico. Lenormand back to Hjulmand in the centre circle. Plays one forward. Good work from Hjulmand. Finds Mendoza. Now Dominguez getting on the right hand side for Atletico. Dominguez on his left foot. Good delivery. Good header away by Diaz. As Martin leapt for that one, but it's going to come back to Jorge Dominguez. He'll go back again to David Hanchko in the centre circle. Clips on forward left-footed, looking for Lookman. And it'll drop here for Savinho, who is, I thought rather aggressively thrown to the ground there by Danny Martinez. Our referee disagrees with me, but Rodrigo Mendoza loses out anyway, and now it's back with Donnarumma. So just calmly chip one forward into midfield where Hulman beats Foden to it, and now it's back with Atletico. 20 minutes gone here now in Seoul. Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 0. Live pre-season friendly action here for you on Flash Score Official with me, Mark Strange. Hanchko, good ball, picked up on by Dominguez on the right hand side. Plenty of early opportunities here for the youngster. He cuts inside, goes back to Koke. Koke finds Martin on that right hand side, gets the ball in. Oh, it's away from Mendoza. Drop for Lookman here. Can he get the space to shoot? No, he can't. Good work from Matías Núñez, but he has to side foot it away, and it's going to go for a corner. Just about eclipse the corner flag on the way, and a corner kick it'll be for Atletico. So the ball in there from Carlos Martin, just over the head of Rodrigo Mendoza, but on one bounce Lookman took it down his chest. Good defensive work though from Matías Núñez to stop the Nigerian forward getting a shot away, but he has done so at the expense of a corner kick here for Atletico, as we take in a right-footed in swinger here by Koke. Plays it short to Mendoza. Back to Koke, whips one in there as Owen is allowed to bounce. Guardiola gets a touch on it, and a challenge from Lenormand on Marmoush. We'll put that one out for a goal kick to Manchester City. Not much we've seen there from Omar Marmoush in the opening 22 minutes here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Despite Manchester City's early dominance, the Egyptian forward wasn't really involved all that much in it. There's Egypt. We're 2-0 up in their round of 16 clash at the World Cup with Argentina before the eventual runners-up came back for a 3-2 win. Marmoush, Salah et al. Left heartbroken. Here's Foden now for Manchester City. Of course, Mohamed Salah, again, another one if you missed it, joining Trabzonspor in the Turkish Super League. A quite incredible welcome from the fans in Trabzon for Salah. And I'm sure if he's going to try and help Trabzonspor to upset the Istanbul dominance. Of course, they are recent title winners, Trabzonspor, but Salah heavily linked with the move to Besiktas for much of the summer, and in the end he did go to Turkey, just not where any people thought he would. Foden, good ball down the left hand side for Semenyo, brilliant touch to the byline. Antoine Semenyo, in he goes to the box with a narrow angle. Semenyo still blocked by Dominguez, good drop for Foden, chaos in the box, and in the end is cleared away by Hanchko all the way back down over the halfway line, where Ruben Diaz will retrieve it for Manchester City. So Antoine Semenyo getting more joy down that left hand side, getting all the way to the byline, but not able to pick anyone out in black and gold in the middle for City. There's one down the line. Oh, touch from Martinez, but it's going to play in here for Savinho, and he just whips it wide. And Danny Martinez got a touch on that pass from Núñez, but could only succeed in diverting it into the path of Savinho, and his left-footed curling shot just curls the wrong side of the post. And on 23 minutes, it looks like we're going to have a hydration break here. So following on from the World Cup, we're going to have a drinks break here for these two sides. Goalless after 24 minutes at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Manchester City, I would argue, with the better of the chances, so Atletico have been coming back into the game. It's a warm evening here in Seoul. Game kicking off at 8 p.m. local time. The temperature still in the high 20s and warm and humid. And that's why the two sides here are getting this hydration break. So not the the only game on here today. We've got Eredivisie action kicking off for you in just round about an hour's time. As Spola will take on Ajax. That will be with my colleague Henry Deacon. And then at 2 p.m, so in about an hour and a half's time, 2 p.m. UK time, it's the Emirates Cup pre-season friendly clash between Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund. That will be Jack Bishop bringing you that one. And then on into midweek then on Wednesday evening, we will have another pre-season friendly for you. Everton versus Newcastle at 5:15 UK time, and then the Super Cup that evening, 8 o'clock UK time, between Paris Saint-Germain and Aston Villa. As I mentioned from the Community Shield, of course, Aston Villa Europa League winners last year, taking on the back-to-back Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain. It's going to be played in the Red Bull Arena in Salzburg. So we're just about ready to get going here. Get going again here, I should say, in Seoul. And we're going to start it with Atletico Madrid goal kick after a Savinho effort just curled wide. Now here's Hansko. He gets a short goal kick from Oblak and then gets it back to Oblak, and he sends it long. And now Kovacic, after Vitor Rice wrestled that one off Carlos Martin. Rice has come away limping slightly, hopefully nothing more than just maybe getting his foot trod on there. Here's Ruben Diaz. And he's going to test out Rice anyway, who will send it on for Foden. And back again to Rice, and he goes back to Donnarumma. Right to the edge of his penalty area, rolls the ball with the studs. Right to Ruben Diaz, wearing the captain's armband. And Mateo Kovacic. Kovacic over the top there, looking for the run of Marmoush, but too much on that one, and Oblak will collect it and immediately bowl it out, and nearly overshot that one for Danny Martinez, but he's overshot the return pass there for Obed Vargas. And now here come City with Semenyo on the left hand side, faced up by Martin, has Dominguez behind him. Semenyo right out in the touchline, but he's so good he can beat you in a phone box, Antoine Semenyo. Here's Foden, back to Kovacic. Now Younes. That's the back off Savinho. Diaz goes back to Gianluigi Donnarumma. Right, clips one out there left to Rice again. Semenyo battles for it in the air with Martin. It'll drop now for City with Reinders. Back to Diaz, who will again go back to Donnarumma. Well, you look at City's signings this summer. The biggest one, of course, is the £116 million signing of Elliot Anderson. Another man who's still on his post-World Cup break, but I'm sure will join up with City next weekend at Wembley. And outside of that, at the moment, another big signing was that of the 17-year-old highly rated Leicester winger, Jeremy Monga. He's come in as well. Anderson will no doubt be plugged into that midfield, and well, if rumours are to be believed, they're also on the verge of signing another of the standout players from the World Cup, Ayoub Bouadi, just 18 years old. The midfielder played for Lille, played for France right up to under 21 level, but represented Morocco at the World Cup and was a real standout star. Just a loose pass now for it. Can't be kept in on the left there by Vitor Rice, so throw in it is to Atletico midway inside the City half. So he is imminently inbound to the Etihad as they are quite clearly preparing for the exit of Rodri, who seems to be in a two-way battle between two of Atletico's biggest rivals, of course, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Barcelona apparently making a bid of 50 million euros. That was laughed out of the room, I think, by Manchester City. Barcelona seemingly is his preferred destination. We shall see. Here's Lookman played in the left-hand side of the penalty area. Oh, good dummy from Lookman. Has Diaz sliding around the penalty area. Back to Mendoza. Good challenge by Kovacic. Hit by Hulman. And over the bar. Deflection. Corner kick it is to Atletico. They're looking for a foul on the edge of the box there by Kovacic on Mendoza. Not so, says Kim Jong-hyuk. But good work going forward there. Brilliant dummy from Ademola Lookman. Diaz was sliding in to block the shot with his left. He moved on to his right, couldn't get the ball away. And in the end, I say Mendoza on the edge of the box. Well, in fact, I think it's a clean challenge by Kovacic. That broke the ball for Morten Hjulmand. And I think it came off Kovacic again. And out for a corner to Atletico on the half-hour mark here. Which will be taken by Koke, a right-footed right-swinger from the Atletico captain. A long-serving servant under Diego Simeone. In it comes, good header away, comes the edge of the box, still bobbling around in there, hacked clear. And now it'll come back to Danny Martinez on the halfway line for Atletico, the furthest man back in red and white. He finds Martin on the left hand side. He'll go back to Martinez, who in turn goes back to Lenormand in the centre circle. And here's Martin, who spent last season on loan at Rayo Vallecano, getting to the Conference League final, of course, where they fell to Crystal Palace. Here's Martinez. And now Dominguez on the right hand side and halfway, runs into trouble. And now it's with Semenyo. Semenyo over the top for Marmoush, but well dealt with there by Hansko. And it's picked up in midfield by Koke. Now Hjulmand. And Dominguez on the right hand side, back to Lenormand. Hansko. Martinez on the left. Martin. Good run ahead of him from. Let's go back for a throw in there. That was Obed Vargas, the Mexican international. And it's actually come off him last, so throwing it is the City. Now Savinho. And challenged by Vargas, so throwing it is again to City. So, well, Atletico Madrid have made some splashes in the transfer window themselves this summer. I mentioned already Morten Hjulmand in, Lee Kang in from PSG, and also one of Spain's World Cup winners, Alejandro Grimaldo from Bayer Leverkusen, who is of course still on his summer holidays after that World Cup. I've lost Thiago Almada, who is headed back to Argentina with River Plate. And Antoine Griezmann, as we know, his exit was confirmed before the end of the season. He's already over in Major League Soccer with Orlando City. Clement Longley, the centre half, is on loan with Benfica. So those are the ins and outs, the major ins and outs anyway, with Atletico Madrid. And there's a foul on Josko Gvardiol. We played 34 minutes here now in Seoul. A warm evening at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. It's Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 0. As the camera pans the Atletico Madrid bench, first to Diego Simeone, and then sitting behind him Lee Kang-in, who I'm sure will get a rapturous welcome whenever he's introduced at some point in this game, you would imagine. And there's a free kick now to Atletico Madrid as Josko Gvardiol holds back Jorge Dominguez. The young 16-year-old has been really impressive at right full back as well. I'm not really sure what sort of ball that was, though, from I think it was Koke who took that free kick, who just hit it hard and low, and well, absolutely no chance for Ademola Lookman to get anywhere near it. Boy, the left hand side for Vitor Reich. Now Guardiola. Semenyo, and a slip that time from Dominguez. Commentator's curse there perhaps. Semenyo on he goes here, making a run. Hulman sticks with him. Semenyo into the box. Left hand side, gets the byline. Semenyo cuts it back. Good interception by Lenormand there to twist his body there to get that one away under pressure of Marmoush, and he did. Now Hulman on the edge of the penalty area to Dominguez. A flick on there from Dominguez, but it's picked up upon by Vitor Reich, and he gets it back off of Mateo Kovacic. Now Reinders. Foden out onto the right hand side for Savinho. Savinho trying to take on Martinez, goes past him to the byline. Those cut back from Savinho, and nobody in black and gold was in the middle there. Jorge Dominguez was around, it could have hit him and gone in for an own goal, but in the end it just fizzes across the penalty area. Now Dominguez will clear under pressure from Foden. They'll find Martin on the right hand side. And 10 minutes to go, plus any stoppage time until half time here. Antoine Semenyo is having a really lively first half. First of all, skipping away from Dominguez, getting to the byline, just couldn't pick out anyone in black and gold. Forced a really good clearance from Robin Lenormand. Now a good touch from Savinho. Away he goes here. Savinho goes past Hansko this time. He's so quick. This cut back again, can't find anybody. Marmoush ends up on the ground. He's claiming for a penalty. It's not coming. And Atletico will come away here with Mendoza down the left. And that's with Koke. Martinez. So again, City finding space down the wings. The pace of Semenyo and Savinho giving Atletico trouble, but ultimately the final ball not picking out anyone in the middle. Some good balls across there. They might be coming to regret that. Here's Hansko now for Atleti. Back inside for Hulman, who despite the warm temperatures is the only man I can see playing in a long sleeve shirt. Here's Koke, finds Dominguez. Loads of room for Jorge Dominguez, or too much room. It's because he's just straight offside. And it'll be a free kick to Manchester City. So 37 gone here in Seoul. Goalless here in this pre-season friendly between Manchester City and Atletico Madrid, as we saw there Savinho initially going past Martinez and then Hansko. Ultimately it was Dominguez who got the clearance. Marmoush was on the ground claiming a penalty, but nothing coming, and I certainly didn't see anything in the replay to suggest there should have been. Here's Foden. Back to Diaz in the centre circle. Reinders. Back to Younes. Finds Reinders again, who finds Younes again. And well, despite Rodri's seemingly imminent exit, the arrival of Elliot Anderson and also imminent arrival of Ayub Buhari maybe is the reason why Tiani Reiner's being squeezed out here. Donnarumma comes out of his box and gets to it well. And there's an offside against Lookman anyway, as Mendoza tries to catch Donnarumma off his line. But Ademola Lookman just gone too quickly there. But as mentioned, Tiani Reinders linked with a move to Nottingham Forest. As, despite Rodri's seemingly imminent exit, the arrivals already of Elliot Anderson and the also seemingly imminent arrival of Ayub Buhari. Looks as though maybe Tiani Reinders might be the man who squeezed out of that midfield. We shall see. Here's Reinders now, finds Savinho, right corner of the penalty area, cuts in onto his left foot. Still going Savinho, twisting, turning. Goes back to Younes midway inside the Atletico half. He finds Reich. Back to Diaz. Younes. Kovacic. Kovacic again. Trying to get away from Hulman. In the end, sprays the pass out right to Foden. Foden midway inside the Atletico Madrid half on the right, faced up by Koke, so he goes back to Younes. And now Kovacic. And again, gets it back off of Reich. Marmush drops deep. About 30 yards from goal to get that one. Now Savinho, he's going to try and take on Martinez again. Sidestepping, he'll go inside to Foden. Foden space for a shot. Curls one left footer, and Oblak, I think, has tipped that one round the post. Good stop from Jan Oblak. Good effort from Phil Foden. A low curling effort. Oblak did well to get down. Low to his right to tip around the post. Indeed it did. It took a nasty bounce in front of Oblak too. It actually took a deflection the way through. That makes it, well, in my book anyway, an even better save from the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper. 40 minutes gone here. Corner kick to Manchester City. Be taken by Gianni Reinders. And it comes, up goes Semenyo in there, headed away though, and sliced clear by Martin. Volleyed, oh what a pass by Younes. If he meant it or not, I don't know, but he's volleyed a pass out on the left for Reinders, who stayed out there after the corner. Reinders onto his right foot. Deep ball over everybody. Can Savinho keep it in? No, he can't, and ultimately that will come to nothing. But what a ball that was from Matheus Nunes to pick out Gianni Reinders on the left. But his deep ball couldn't be kept in by Savinho, and we have ourselves a goal kick here, which the Hansko will just roll back to his goalkeeper, Jan Oblak, who just stands on the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box, invites pressure from Foden, gets it, and then finds Hansko. Back again to Oblak, he's been chased down by Savinho this time, and now he gets it away, flicked on by Dominguez to Koke. On the right hand side, just inside his own half. Has Kovacic there, putting him under pressure. Spraying pass there from Lenormand, picked off by Nunez, but Martinez gets to it before Savinho. Lookman will drop deep for it, and Atletico have it again midway inside their own half. Koke opens it up for Dominguez on the right hand side. He skips past Kovacic. Semenyo gets back, but Dominguez does really well to find Martin on the right hand side. There's bodies breaking in the middle here. Martin gets it back, blocked by Guardiola, will come straight back to Carlos Martin. He has another chance. Instead he'll find Koke, whose ball across is blocked by Diaz, and that's a corner for Atletico. And well, it's worked out okay for them in the end there, but you have to think that Carlos Martin won't be overly happy with that initial ball across. That was blocked by Josko Gvardiol. So we'll have ourselves a corner here for Atletico. Again to be taken right-footed out swinging by Koke. And it comes now, Koke, out swinger. Glanced away by Reich, who again comes up limping. Hjulmand gets in for Dominguez, he's put it in, 1-0 for Atletico Madrid as he stayed on side. He has, and it's the 16-year-old fullback who has had a really nice first half. And he caps it off with a goal now. The corner kick dropped for Morten Hjulmand, and he poked it through, and it's the 16-year-old Jorge Dominguez who has scored for Atletico Madrid and opens the scoring here. Came from Koke's corner kick delivery. Vitor Reis won the header. Hjulmand brought it down really well, and indeed Dominguez is played onside there. It's by Josko Gvardiol on the near side, and he just toe pokes it home past Donnarumma. I think there'll be some concern for Vitor Reis, who looks like he's in some pain after that initial header. It's a brilliant touch from Hjulmand to bring it down, and then he pokes it through for Dominguez, who stabs it home. And it's 1-0 to Atletico Madrid, right on the brink of half-time here. And what a moment for 16-year-old Jorge Dominguez, who had to have a look over his shoulder to check that he definitely stayed onside. And whenever the flag stayed down, he could enjoy his goal, his moment. And what a first half from the young fullback. 43 minutes gone. It's Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 1. And City, you have to say, probably had the better of the play early in this one, but Atletico have come back into it, and they've been rewarded for their efforts with a goal. And now we're into the last minute of the 45 here, and Ademola Lookman has gone to ground. I don't know how Vitor Reis is. It's a couple of times today he's come up a little bit lame after challenges, and he won the initial header to head that one away. But as he landed, he started limping, And as Hulman brought the ball down out of the sky, poked it through for Dominguez. It was Vitor Rice who was closest to him, and perhaps maybe that's why Dominguez was afforded that little extra bit of space. He was played onside by Josko Gvardiol and just prodded home past Donnarumma. So into the see very shortly what sort of added time we'll have here as Martinez goes down the left, finds Lookman. And there's Koke right in front of the fourth officials. I can see 4 go up on the board there. So we're into 4 added minutes at the end of this first half here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium, where it is Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 1. 16-year-old fullback Jorge Dominguez with the goal, and he's in space on the right hand side, but Mendoza chose to go through the middle, look for Lookman. They'll come back again for Mendoza. He slings out on the left for Koke. Nice touch in the left corner of the penalty area. Back to Martin. And now Koke again. Now Martin. Back to Martinez and Koke. Back into the middle of the Man City half with Hansko, and into the centre circle for Lenormand, who's immediately pounced upon by Semenyo, but gets away to Hulman. And now Mendoza. Back to Hulman. Space now for Vargas. Vargas going to hit one from range. Oh, it actually hits Mendoza right in the square of the back. That's going to be sore. But the shot from Obed Vargas blocked by his own teammate there. Now Phil Foden. Back to Vitor Rice, who will clear it away. And then nodded in the touch there by David Hansko. So they played a minute of the 4 added on here in Seoul. And Diego Simeone's men have the lead in what is their one and only game in Asia. It's game 3 of Manchester City's Asian tour, which they've drawn 1-1 with Inter. Now they did lose on penalties, but I don't think that's really going to worry Enzo Maresca too much. And then they came away in midweek with a 3-1 win over the K-League All-Stars. And so far for Atletico, they've beaten Getafe 4-1 before losing 2-1 to Manchester United in Stockholm last week. Here's Gvardiol, finds Semenyo on the left. He's been threatening all first half. Left corner of the penalty area, on his right foot. Hits one, Semenyo low and hard, but well wide of the post, and no touch of a red and white shirt on the way through, so that'll be a goal kick. And we've played 2 of the 4 added minutes here at the end of this first half. As I mentioned, in now just over half an hour's time, around 40 minutes time, we'll have Eredivisie action for you. The league has got going this weekend. We had PSV and Fortuna Sittard yesterday, and at 1:30 p.m. UK time we'll have Zwolle against Ajax with my colleague Henry Deacon. And at 2 p.m, so in just over an hour's time, it's the Emirates Cup clash at the Emirates Stadium between Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund. More pre-season action for you. It'll be Jack Bishop will be bringing you that one. I'm Mark Strange here as Man City try to go through, and Omar Marmoush goes to ground, and Phil Foden is furious with Kim Jong-hyuk, our referee. Not the first time this first half that City have claimed for a penalty that hasn't come. Even in pre-season, Phil Foden letting the referee know his feelings. Here's Martinez to Martin. Hansko. A very young Manchester City bench. They do have Nico, they have Ryan Ait-Nouri, and also Claudio Echeverri, who's one and only appearance for Manchester City. Came in the own. Here's one in for Lookman. More than that in a minute. Lookman at a narrow angle. Good challenge from Vitor Rice, and forces Lookman to sky his effort from a narrow angle there. Claudio Echeverri, who, as I mentioned, was one of the, along with Vitor Rice and also Atletico's Thomas Lemar, who spent last season on loan at Girona. His one and only appearance for Manchester City was off the bench in the 2025 FA Cup final defeat to Crystal Palace. Not many can say that, but he'll be hoping to have more of a part of Enzo Maresca's plans this season. And indeed, we are just at half time here now as the referee Kim Jong-hyuk blows his whistle at the end of this first half here in Seoul. That sees Atletico Madrid lead by a 1-0. That goal coming on the stroke of half time. 43 minutes from 16-year-old fullback Jorge Dominguez, who prodded home from close range after Morten Hjulmand kept a corner kick alive. And well, City started the game with on the front foot, had chances, haven't been able to finish them. And as Atletico have come back into this game, it is they who lead by a 1-0 at the break here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back very shortly with the start of the second half. We're back here. Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 1 at the end of that first half. A goal on 43 minutes from the 16-year-old fullback Jorge Dominguez for Atletico Madrid is the difference between the sides. Manchester City in their black and gold away strip. And here's a new man off the bench, Rico Lewis. We'll get those substitutes confirmed for you. It appears he has come on. In place of Vitor Reich. As I mentioned, the Brazilian in the first half had a couple of sore ones, and now he has been replaced by Rico Lewis. Now there's Reinders to Foden, and that's over the bar. Looks as though that will be the only change at the break here for either side. So Vitor Reich not risked further, and Rico Lewis will come in at left back with Josko Gvardiol sliding in the centre half. So for City then in goal, it's Donnarumma. Across the right, Younes, Diaz, Gvardiol and Lewis. And midfield is Reinders, Kovacic and Foden, with a front three of Savinho, Semenyo and Marmoush. And for Atletico Madrid, don't believe there's been any replacements there just yet. They've got in goals Oblak. That's the goal scorer Dominguez, Lenormand, Hansko, Martinez. There's Koke, the captain, Vargas, Hulman, Mendoza, Lookman and Martin. There's a foul by Koke on Foden there in the centre circle. So free kick to Manchester City. Atletico Madrid in their traditional home colours. Red and white striped shirts, blue shorts, blue socks. City, as I mentioned, black shirts with gold trim, black shorts and gold socks. Here's Hulman. Back to Dominguez. Good challenge from Hulman on Semenyo, but he's gone down in a heap there, and hopefully that's nothing too sinister for Antoine Semenyo. It's back now with Hansko, overshoots it to Hulman. Semenyo is back to his feet as Kovacic picks that one up. Mateo Kovacic on the run. Finds Semenyo, left corner of the penalty area. Semenyo back to Reinders. Now Younes, Savinho. Good challenge on him from Danny Martinez. That'll be a throw in to Atletico Madrid. So no changes at the break for Atletico mean that the this crowd here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium will have to wait a little longer for their man Lee Kang-in, the Korea international signed this summer for Atletico from Paris Saint-Germain. He is among the subs for Diego Simeone's men. Throw in flicked on. Right, Diaz. Back inside to Gvardiol. Kovacic. Back to Gvardiol. Midway inside the Atletico Madrid half. Turns back and finds Diaz wearing the captain's armband today for Manchester City. Here's Younes. Reinders back to Younes, and City being forced back into their own half here by the Atletico press, but Younes turns around and runs straight at them. Good work from him. Now he finds Savinho on the right hand side, midway inside the Atletico half. Foden, Savinho, back to Foden, overhits that one, and it's cleared away by Robin Lenormand. All the way through to Gianluigi Donnarumma, all in green, the Manchester City goalkeeper. He comes out midway inside his own half. Now Reinders. Younes back to Tijani Reinders. His Netherlands side with an early exit of this summer's World Cup put out in the round of 32. And there's one back by Martin of Semenyo. Martin goes to ground. Was he squeezed out between Semenyo and Kovacic? No, says our referee. It's Kim Jong-hyuk, our referee, but that's a foul by Rodrigo Mendoza on Mateo Kovacic. So free kick to Manchester City in the centre circle. Off they go here. 5 minutes gone in the second half. I'm Mark Strange live for Flash Score Official. Manchester City 0, Atletico Madrid 1 in pre-season here in Seoul. Good ball whipped in, headed away by Lenormand. That was Foden with the delivery. It'll come back out to Savinho on this right hand side. He cuts inside, still going Savinho, still going back across goal and held. Jan Oblak, the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper, all in yellow this evening. He does a good job of holding on to that one. It's still temperatures in the high 20s. It's now approximately 9:15 in the evening, local time in Seoul. Nodded down. Dominguez though beaten to it by Guardiola. Nice backheel finds Lewis, and there'll be a throw in actually to Manchester City as Rico Lewis lets it run. And Lewis is taking his time here, taking the throw in front of Diego Simeone. Eventually gets it away to Semenyo. He's holding off the challenge of Dominguez and cleared away by Lenormand. Lewis now on halfway for City. Kovacic going backwards under pressure of Mendoza, but he'll clip that one out onto the right hand side where it's picked up by Reinders. Reinders finds Savinho on halfway, right on the touchline. Tries to twist away from Martinez. Good challenge that time by the 21-year-old defender, who had a tough time in the first half, to be honest, against Savinho. City had some joy going down either flank with Semenyo and Savinho, two very dangerous wide men, but not able to convert them into goals. Here's a long one over the top for Semenyo. Good touch, and oh well. His second touch not as good as his first, and it runs out of play for a goal kick to Atletico Madrid. So Atletico, as I mentioned, the first half, they get their La Liga campaign underway on the 19th of August. On Wednesday night against Malaga. Their final pre-season game is against Marseille next weekend. Manchester City, well, they play Arsenal in the Community Shield this day next week, before starting their Premier League campaign the 23rd of August at home to Bournemouth. Of course, a game like every Premier League game you can hear live here on Flash Score Official at Premier League opening weekend, starting on Friday the 21st with the reigning champions Arsenal against the newly promoted Coventry City. Coventry back in the Premier League this year, and they couldn't have asked for a tougher start away to the champions to start the season. Guardiola now to Semenyo on the left, in front of his manager Enzo Maresca. Carlos Martin biting in with the challenge, but Semenyo gets it away to Kovacic. Kovacic now, though, was robbed by Koke, and here come Atletico Madrid. They've got 3-on-2 here. Koke out on the left hand side, struck first time by Obed Vargas, and just not enough on it. I think it took a deflection, but either way, an easy stop for Gianluigi Donnarumma. And now here comes Foden. So Kovacic not punished there for gifting that ball to Koke. Now Guardiola. Lewis back to Guardiola. Now Foden has Marmoush ahead of him. Marmoush takes runners away. Foden still going. Goes to ground. No foul given. Semenyo now left corner of the penalty area. Back to Foden. Challenged by Dominguez, and then eventually it's Morten Hjulmand with a foul on Foden. He's pre-season or not, Hjulmand is not happy with that decision, and he's letting Kim Jong-hyuk know that. It's a strong challenge by Hjulmand, too strong in the end. So it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City on the left hand side, left corner of the penalty area. And despite a conversation, well, Morten Hjulmand's going to get himself booked. I don't know whether that was for the challenge, his reaction, maybe a combination of them both, but Phil Foden is back to his feet and limping. I mentioned that Vito Reich was limping in the first half, hence why he was replaced by Rico Lewis at half time. So 10 minutes gone in the second half here, and a dangerous free kick here for Manchester City. They've got, I was going to say Semenyo and Reinders, but Semenyo will walk away from it, so it's going to be Tiani Reinders to take it. There's black and gold shirts lined up along the edge of the penalty area and also in the middle. Let's see what the Dutch international tries here. Waiting for the referee's whistle, now it comes. Reinders whips it in on goal, and he nearly caught Oblak out at the near post. He whipped that in near post to Yanni Reinders, but Oblak alert to it and gets down to make the save. So ultimately there, Reinders trying to catch out the Atletico Madrid goalkeeper, but not doing so as he makes a save. So here's Martinez. Koke. Now Hughes on a booking now, the Atletico Madrid midfielder. Ball over the top for Lookman, but too much on it. Donnarumma comes out to edge his box to gather. Pulls it out underarm to Josko Gvardiol. Challenge out by Ademola Lookman on Omar Marmoush, who's had a very quiet game, the Egyptian forward. Here's Ruben Diaz. Lewis now to Younes. Now Younes again to Kovacic, now Gvardiol midway inside the Atletico Madrid half. Gvardiol finds Foden on the left, has Semenyo ahead of him, but turns inside away from Mendoza. Now Kovacic for Foden. Another challenge by Hughes, and it's away by Dominguez, brought down by Kovacic, midway inside the Atletico Madrid half still. Now on the left for Semenyo. Oh, brilliant from Semenyo. He's kept that in so well. Antoine Semenyo to the byline. Back across goal. 1-1. Brilliant from Antoine Semenyo. And just as I was talking about Omar Marmoush having a quiet evening, he's the one who slides home from 6 yards. But that is all about Antoine Semenyo. Brilliant, brilliant skill out wide. As Manchester City level here on 57 minutes. Well, that was lovely play out on the left by Antoine Semenyo. He had to slide to keep the ball in. But as he did so, in one motion, he slid, got to his feet, beat the defender, and as he loves doing, got to the byline, whips it back across. Oh, it's lovely skill. It's Carlos Martin that comes over. Semenyo slides, goes to ground to keep it in, flicks it round Martin, gets to the byline, his cutback. Well, he does all the work. He puts the pace on the ball. Marmoush just has to get there first, and he gets to it before Danny Martinez. Oblak committed to the front post, and Marmoush levels for Manchester City, and that is a lovely, lovely goal. And brilliant work it was from Antoine Semenyo to set up Omar Marmoush, who's quiet evening at the Seoul World Cup Stadium comes to life. Here's Rico Lewis, brings one down his chest, and then he pulls back the shirt of Carlos Martin, who's having words with Rico Lewis, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of needle in this game. It's no points at stake, but it's a bit of emotion there from Carlos Martin, perhaps a little bit flustered after being beaten by that wonderful bit of skill by Antoine Semenyo. Now it's back here, Matheus Nunes on halfway for City. Back to Gvardiol. Over the top for Semenyo as he got the pace. He does. Semenyo back across again. Oh, it's 2-1. It's Marmoush again. And 2 goals inside 3 minutes. And it's that combination of Semenyo to Marmoush again. And Manchester City have flipped this game on its head inside 3 minutes. On 59 minutes, it's now Manchester City 2, Atletico Madrid 1. Omar Marmoush had the freedom of the penalty area to finish that one. And more brilliant work by Antoine Semenyo down the left. He is so dangerous when he gets going. And he has now teed up Omar Marmoush for 2 similar goals inside 3 minutes. Ooh, now Antoine Semenyo, I think, is offside there. Maybe even a claim that Marmoush himself might have been offside, but, well, he's got away down the left there, Antoine Semenyo, but I think he's maybe gone a little bit too early. And I think that's what it takes a really horrible bounce on the way through to take it away from David Hanchko to his delivery across the middle. But calmly finished by Omar Marmoush. Well, I think that's one of those goals that if that's in the Premier League or Champions League or any sort of game with VAR, I think that one's getting disallowed. And indeed, I think the Atletico Madrid players are furious with the decision. But that I'm aware of, I don't believe there's VAR this game unless I've been informed wrong, and the pre-season not Diego Simeone's not happy. Well, there's going to be a sub here for Manchester City. So you'll see Nico come on to replace Mateo Kovacic on the arm mark here in Seoul. As I say, I think that is certainly one that if there is VAR involved, or indeed if this is a competitive game, I don't think that one's going to count. Antoine Semenyo goes a little too early. I think he's offside, but his ball across picks out Omar Marmoush for the second time in 3 minutes. And Manchester City have turned this game in its head. It's Manchester City 2, Atletico Madrid 1, a double from Omar Marmoush and a double assist from Antoine Semenyo as Nico is on to replace Mateo Kovacic on the arm mark here. Atletico will look to respond here. Martin comes down the right, challenged by Guardiola, and that's a throw in to Atletico. It looks like we're going to have a raft of Atletico Madrid subs here. Goodness me, well, the commentator's nightmare of this pre-season game is a raft of subs all at once. I'll try my best to keep you abreast of them all. Hugh flicks one up into the air and down the ground there. And all of a sudden, this game's getting a little bit of needle to it. That was Robin Lenormand who went up for that one, but in the end there, just a tap on the back of Tijani Reinders. And one of those subs for Atletico is going to be the man that many inside the Seoul World Cup Stadium are waiting to see, as Lee Kang-in. Are we going to have it before this Atletico free kick or after? We shall see. I think we're going to have it after. So Thomas Lamar is going to join us as well. And those subs wait on the sideline. It's an absolute gaggle of subs here. In fact, I think Diego Simeone might be throwing on nearly an entire team here. And indeed, we are going to have the subs before the free kick. Again, I think if that's a competitive game, obviously you're not going to be throwing on that many subs, but I think you take that free kick first and then the subs come. So I think it's the closest way I can put it here is almost everybody off for Atletico. We'll do my best to keep you abreast of these subs, but the main man that's coming on is Lee Kang-in as he gets a roar from his home crowd here in Seoul as he comes on for Atletico Madrid. The number 7 for Atletico is on, as is Thomas Lamar. And the roar from the Seoul World Cup Stadium for the arrival of one of their own. He's going to come on here for Rodrigo Mendoza. That's the first change for Atletico, and he's going to take this free kick. What a moment this would be. Lee Kang-in, it's certainly not without range of a shot, and he is going to hit one left-footed when he curls it just wide at the far post. Oh, Lee Kang-in immediately take the free kick. That will be quite a storybook goal there for Lee Kang-in. Instead he just curls it wide. I want to say he got a last-minute word from Diego Simeone, and I imagine that's a case of get on that free kick and have a go at goal, but over the bar. So another sub there. The other subs are confirmed, but Iker Luque is on for Carlos Martin. Jose Jimenez on for Robin Lenormand. Johnny Cardozo is on for Morten Hjulmand. I'm just getting these ones fed through to me. Good effort there from Lee. We've got Javier Bonar is on for Jorge Dominguez, the Atletico Madrid goal scorer. Pablo Barrios on for Koke. Now here is Iker Luque coming down the right hand side. Luque, who made just one appearance for the senior team last season, a 2-0 victory at Valencia where he scored. Here's Lee, left footed delivery in, headed away by Diaz. Thomas Lamar is on for Obed Vargas. Here's Luque now. Right onto the left hand side for Lamar. Barrios. Ooh, Martinez has given that one away. Now here's City come forward on the halfway line with Reinders. Reinders in for Marmoush. He's on a hat-trick here. Good sliding challenge by the new man, Jose Jimenez there. Slide that one out for a throw. That'll give him good confidence coming off the bench. We've also got Arnau Ortiz on for Ademola Lookman for Atletico. As I say, an absolute commentator's nightmare whenever the subs are brought on in bunches like that. As Lee is looking for the foul there off of Nico Gonzalez, doesn't get it. So now it's back to Ruben Diaz in the centre circle. Bardio, Rico Lewis to Nico Gonzalez. Good challenge, one back there in the midfield by Ortiz. Ortiz trying to play one away here through the middle for Atletico. A shot there in the end from Javier Bonar is blocked. There's Lee again. Barrios takes that one away from Savinho. Did he foul? Savinho knows as a referee. Now Luque on the right hand side. So Ortiz. Now Barrios. Barrios through the middle. Good ball. In on goal here come Atletico. The shot now is deflected wide in the end there. Effort coming in from Javier Bonar. And it takes a deflection off of Josko Gvardiol. And out of play. There's Lamar's delivery. Good header out by Lewis. In fact, my apologies, that was Arnau Sola who was on as well. That's another confirmed substitute. We've also had a change in goalkeeper for Atletico. Jan Oblak is off. Now they have two goalkeepers on the bench. Salvi Esquivel and Daniel Rubio. I haven't quite had it confirmed to me yet which goalkeeper has come on, but as soon as I hear that, I will update you as we get to the hydration break again here on 68 minutes at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Good news for Atletico and for these fans inside the Seoul World Cup Stadium is that Lee Kang-in, their hero, their superstar, is on. Bad news for Atletico fans is they're now 2-1 down. The double from Omar Marmoush, one of which I almost certainly would have been ruled out for offside had it been a competitive game with VAR. But brilliant work from Semenyo to set up Marmoush for a double. By the way, it is Salvi Esquivel now in goal for Athletic. On for Jan Oblak. Which means they have 10 changes. Only Danny Martinez that started the game for Atletico has stayed on the field. So just to confirm then, coming on for Atletico here on 68 minutes, or it was around 65, we got Lee, Luque, Jimenez, Cardozo, Bonar, Barrios, Lamar, Ortiz, Sola and Esquivel. Coming off them, Mendoza, Martin, Lenormand, Hulmant, Dominguez, Koke, Vargas, Lookman, Hanchko and Oblak. Only Danny Martinez that started the game for Atletico Madrid now with about 20 minutes to go, just over 20 minutes to go, remains on the field. So Atletico themselves rumoured to be interested in a move for Spain's World Cup final hero Ferran Torres, who, despite scoring the only goal of the game in extra time in the final against Argentina, is rumoured to be still deemed surplus to requirements by Barcelona. He was in and out of the team last season, and if rumours are to be believed, he's potentially on his way out. Paris Saint-Germain also interested in the former Valencia and Manchester City man, Ferran Torres. So Jose Jimenez, by the way, is the man who is wearing the captain's armband since all those subs for Atletico. So we're getting our look at that curling free kick effort from Lee Kang-in that just went over the bar. So for City, well, they've actually only made the 2 changes so far. Rico Lewis and Nico Gonzalez coming on for Vitor Reich and Mateo Kovacic. There's Lewis, nutmeg there to the legs of Bonar. And that's going to be a throw in now on the right hand side in front of the Manchester City dugout, taken by Javier Bonar. He goes back to Jose Jimenez. Jimenez gets away from Foden for a pass, so picked off by Lewis. Challenge on him by Lee. He's on the ball now. Lee Kang-in, one back by Rico Lewis. And a couple of deflections, ends up with the ball at the feet of Javier Bonar. And he goes back to Salvi Esquivel in goal. Esquivel forward. Here's Lamar. Atletico Madrid player since 2018. The Frenchman, formerly of Monaco. Spent last season on loan at Girona as Lee clips one over the top here out in the left hand side for Sola. Sola gets a good ball in the middle, a header and goal. Good save by Gvardiol. It was Arno Ortiz who got up to win the header there. But a good save by Donnarumma. And these really beautiful Atletico Madrid shirts, by the way. They've been done in Korean design on the numbers and Korean alphabet for the names. Man City also have their names, although the numbers are the same as normal. They have their names on the back of the shirt in Korean print. It's a really nice touch from both sides, albeit beautiful designs. Hard to get an eye on as a commentator, especially with all these subs. And that one's flicked on by Barrios. Now it's out here for Luque on the right hand side. So we've Manchester City sub here, Antoine Semenyo. His afternoon is finished and he's going to be replaced by Divin Mubama. Which will push Omar Marmoush out on this left hand side, where immediately he loses out that challenge to Bonar, and that's going to be a throw into Atletico. Mubama's a big man. Scored in the 3-1 win over the K-League All-Stars in midweek. Yeah, spent last season on loan in the Championship. Stoke City, 5 goals in 26 games for him there. Now it's Barrios in midfield for Atleti. Another man like Lenormand, perhaps somewhat surprisingly left out of Spain's World Cup squad, albeit that any selection decision by Luis de la Fuente appeared to have worked all right. Here's a cross in from Bonar, and a strike for a narrow angle in the end from Arnau Ortiz is over the top. And we've got just over 15 minutes to go here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. Manchester City 2, Atletico Madrid 1. Jorge Dominguez's first half goal for Atletico cancelled out by a double by Omar Marmoush, both set up by Antoine Semenyo. Similar goals, the second of which in a competitive game of VAR almost certainly would have been ruled out for offside. Here's Mubama now holding off the challenge there from Bonar and playing out onto the right hand touchline for Savinho. Here's Nico Gonzalez, 1-2 with Reinders in the midfield. And Nico. Over the top, headed away by Jimenez. Lamar volleys a pass there out on the left hand side for Sola. Sola back inside for Lamar on the left, midway inside the Manchester City half. Barrios now in the centre circle. Barrios to Bonar on the right hand side, back to Barrios. Danny Martinez. And on the left hand side, Sola has Lamar going ahead of him. He drills one in the middle, blocked. Back it comes to Johnny Cardoso, the American international. Lamar, edge of the box for Ortiz. Tried to work a pass through, wouldn't work, so he goes back to Lamar. Now Sola to the byline, he's got time and space, cuts it back, and the shot, first time from Lee, is over the top. Well, I think the roof would have come off this stadium had that one gone in. Good work there between Thomas Lamar and Arnaud Sola. And the cut back from Lee, he just evaded the attentions of Guardiola. His left-footed effort though, first time over the top. Lee Kang In, of course, was a former Valencia forward. And he's reeling in the trophies in his time at Paris Saint-Germain. Here comes Guardiola down the left for City to Lewis. Under pressure, wins a throw in. Go back now to the edge of the box, and another Manchester City sub here. As Ryan Aid-Nouri has joined us. As to who he has replaced, I will update you as soon as I can find that one out. The ball will go all the way through to Gianluigi Donnarumma. And here's Nico Gonzalez. Nunez to Reinders down the right hand touchline. And now Nico Gonzalez back out to the left for Josko Gvardiol. Now Gonzalez back to Diaz under pressure from Lee. And it's off to Nico, and now Gvardiol. Aid-Nouri. Challenge on him there from Iker Luque. I believe Ryan Aid-Nouri is on for the double goal scorer Omar Marmoush. Indeed he is, that's been confirmed. Ball clipped over the top. There's Mubama. Is he onside here? He's got a big chance. Divin Mubama will save by the feet of Esquivel. Sorry, great save Esquivel, and then the header followed in from Foden is held by the Atletico Madrid backup goalkeeper. I was really going to credit that save to Jan Oblak, but it's Salvi Esquivel in goal for Atleti with a big save there. The one-on-one effort from David Mubama. With a chance for a second goal on tour here for City. Barrios nods it down. And that's with Cardoso to Lamar. Lamar up over halfway on the left for Atletico, bombing forward here. Has options ahead of him. One of those ahead of him is Ortiz. Dealing with Diaz there. Arnaud Ortiz goes to the byline with Ruben Diaz. Good strong forward play by Arnaud Ortiz, and in the end he wins himself a throw in. Good work there from the young forward. Now Barrios. It's the back off Cardoso. Now Lamar. Lamar overplays the pass there, just a little bit too much on that for Sola. And that's with Lamar again. Lamar, and well won back there off Barrios by Aid-Nouri, and Guardiola had to clear that away under pressure from Ortiz. And now away comes City down the right hand side with Savinho, but a good challenge there to win it back for Atleti. Now here's Jimenez. Bonar. With Barrios, and now Cardoso looks for Bonar, but too much on the pass from Johnny Cardoso. So throw in the left of City. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium It's Manchester City 2, Atletico Madrid 1. Second half double from Omar Marmoush, cancelling out 16-year-old Jorge Dominguez's first half opener. That ball sprayed out wide to Savinho on the right hand touchline. Savinho cuts inside. Was he fouled there? He was, by Sola. That's going to be a free kick to Manchester City on the right hand corner of the penalty area. Yeah, that's about as clear cut a foul as they come there on the Brazilian winger. Either a right-footed delivery here from Tijani Reinders or a left-footed delivery from Phil Foden. This is going to be another Manchester City sub here. And it's going to be Claudio Echeverri on there for Savinho for the last 8 minutes or so. The man who, as I mentioned earlier, his only appearance for Manchester City coming as a sub in the 2025 FA Cup final defeat to Crystal Palace. And it comes from Foden, whipped in, good header away inside his own 6-yard box there by Jimenez. And Ait Nouri will let that one run for a throw in on the left hand side. Which Rico Lewis will take. Lewis throws it back to Gvardiol. Gvardiol back to Diaz in the centre circle. And Diaz again gets it back off of Ait Nouri. Plays one down the left hand side, now finds Ryan Ait Nouri with a great run. Oh, he's offside now. The Algerian international. So 7 minutes plus stoppage time to go here. You're listening to pre-season action live from the Seoul World Cup Stadium, where Manchester City lead Atletico Madrid by 2-1. I'm Mark Strange. We're almost back to our full fixture list of games from, of course, the Premier League is going Friday the 21st of August with Arsenal against Coventry City, and then a full schedule over the Saturday and Sunday. And as always, you can listen to every Premier League game live on Flash Score Official, plus we'll have other select games from around Europe. All the big games whenever the Champions League, Europa League stage get here next month. And all internationals after that, as Esquivel sells a dummy there to Mobama and then gets it right onto the left-hand touchline. Now Lamar. We'll have Manchester City's game against Arsenal at the Community Shield this day next week. 3 p.m. kickoff UK time for that one, as Arsenal, the league winners, take on Manchester City, the FA Cup winners. We'll also have the UEFA Super Cup, which is this week, this Wednesday evening in Salzburg. Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain against Europa League winners Aston Villa. That's an 8 p.m. UK time kickoff. Also currently live, by 20 minutes in, we've got Ajax against Zwolle. And in around 10 minutes time, kicking off in the Emirates Stadium, it's Arsenal against Borussia Dortmund in the Emirates Cup pre-season friendly. We'll have one more pre-season game in midweek for you. Newcastle against Everton will be a pre-season clash, and then in a couple of weeks' time will be all go again, as all of Europe's major leagues will be underway by then. Here's Younes back to Diaz. We've got 5 minutes plus stoppage time left here in Seoul. That Semenyo Marmoush combination proving very useful indeed for Enzo Maresca's men. Here's Reinders. And Echeverri. He was a teammate of Thomas Lamar's last season at Girona on loan, and that ultimately relegation doomed season for the Catalan side, who are also part of the City group. There's Diaz out left for Foden. Now Rico Lewis gets a nice bounce and he'll go down the left-hand touchline. Lewis. Back to Foden. Lewis and Foden again on the edge of the penalty area. Outside of the boot, he's going to find Younes. He hits one. Good save by Esquivel. Back into the danger zone, hooked away by Martinez. Absolute pile driver there from Matheus Younes, and Salvi Esquivel did really well to bat that one away. Here's Foden. Back to Gvardiol. Right, Nico Gonzalez. Phil Foden. Good challenge on him there by Iker Luque. Along with Arno Ortiz were the 2 goal scorers for Atletico's 2-0 win at Valencia in April. Now look at that Younes strike. That was moving. Esquivel had to be really alert for that one. And good strong hands behind him from Atletico's replacement goalkeeper. Mobama now goes down the left-hand touchline there with Martinez. He goes to ground, but he somehow manages to keep it in, but good work from Danny Martinez. To win it back, and then he gives it away. Now Ait Nouri's in the corner. Has Mobama with him. It's really tight in there, and in the end Atletico will clear it for a corner. It comes off the corner flag and out for a corner by Luque. So good work there from Divin Mobama. As I mentioned, he's a big man. This striker. He spent last season alone at Stoke City in the Championship. We'll see if he's going to be part of Enzo Maresca's plans ahead of this season. Of course, Erling Haaland, none other than among those still to come back to the Manchester City squad ahead of the new season, given a bit of extra time off after his exploits at the World Cup. Norway making the quarter-finals of the World Cup before falling to England. As Foden takes a left-foot right-swing corner, away in there by Barrios and further away by Luque. Comes back out to Ait Nouri, back out to Foden on the left. Good left-foot delivery from Foden over the head of Mobama and volleyed over the bar by Echeverri. A great ball in there from Phil Foden. But Claudio Echeverri at the back post there, just not able to keep that one down. It was just out of the reach of Divin Mobama, and the Argentinian was just arriving at the back post, trying to cushion a right-footed volley, but couldn't keep it down. It's almost a sellout inside the Seoul World Cup Stadium this evening. It's been a great atmosphere, none more so perhaps. So I've had it even more so in the goals. Whenever Lee Kang-in was one of the subs introduced, all 10 subs at once by Diego Simeone, as there's a foul by Gvardiol and Luque. And Josko Gvardiol is going to get a yellow card, so he's going to join the now departed Morten Hjulmand in Kim Jong-hyuk's notebook. He had a good old chunk there of Iker Luque's shirt as the young winger tried to make his way down the touchline. So Lee will take this free kick on the halfway line, almost on the touchline. Everyone in red and white shirts forward, as Lee will send it long to the back post. Good header, one up there by Martinez, cleared away though, and now Mobama will try and come away with it. And was he fouled? No, he thought he was, but play on. Lamar can't get past Nico Gonzalez though, and now there's room here for Manchester City. It's Echeverri. Ait Nouri's in one-on-one. Oh, dreadful touch by Ryan Ait Nouri, and out comes Esquivel to smother, and Atletico come away. Goodness me, that should have been 3-1 there. Ryan Ait Nouri's touch deserts him at the worst possible time as Mobama now plays it forward. Ait Nouri surely was offside there. He's one-on-one again. This time he finishes, drills it low and hard into the bottom corner, and that goal is going to count as Ryan Ait Nouri has redeemed himself almost immediately after a dreadful first touch. Robbed him his first opportunity. This time it's a good ball through from Divin Mobama that finds Ryan Ait Nouri, and this time he keeps his touch, keeps his composure, and drills a low hard shot into the far corner, past Esquivel. And indeed, no, Ait Nouri is onside there. Danny Martinez was very late in getting out from the back there, and Ait Nouri this time with a clinical finish, just seconds really after a poor first touch, robbed him of that opportunity. So it's Manchester City 3, Atletico Madrid 1, and City They're going to come away with 2 wins, potentially, unless they score any more in stoppage time. 2 3-1 wins in pre-season here on their tour of Asia, after having done so against the K-League All-Stars in midweek. And after a draw, technically a shootout defeat to Inter in game 1. In 90 minutes anyway in their 3 games, they will come away unbeaten from their Asia tour. And Atletico Madrid, well, plenty to take from this. Ultimately, I think Diego Simeone, we're into 6 out of minutes here by the way, played a minute of that already. Diego Simeone ultimately, I think, treating this, despite the fact his side actually start their league campaign a few days before City. They have another friendly next week while City are in the Community Shield. Atletico will take on Marseille, which is actually a repeat of the 2018 Europa League final that Atletico won 3-0, so good memories for Atletico fans. They're not going to stop here. Is Lamar, is there a chance here for them? Oh, and it's just screwed wide at the near post by Ortiz. And Gianluigi Donnarumma doing a good job of just narrowing the angle there on Ortiz. It's a nice chip ball through the middle by Thomas Lamar, who certainly, if he is trying to convince Diego Simeone that he can still contribute to this Atletico team this year, certainly his cameo here in the last 25 minutes or so will have done him no harm. Donnarumma's free kick picked up on by Luque, challenged by Foden. Right for a throw in. So plenty of City players are going to get the full game here. Only players coming off the bench are Nico Gonzalez, Ryan Aït-Nouri, the goal scorer, Claudio Echeverri, Divin Mubama and Rico Lewis. There's Atletico, the only man that will play 90 minutes. This man on the ball, Dani Martinez. And he loses that one to Foden and concedes a throw in. Certainly more wholesale changes from Diego Simeone than Enzo Maresca, who, after being Pep Guardiola's number 2 before moving to Chelsea, now he gets the job of being the number 1 at the Etihad in what will be a brand new era. It was already a brand new era really, but will be